Hi, I'm Doug McKinlay and you're watching Adorama TV. Now for today's episode, we're going to look at a few difficulties that crop up on a day of shooting. No matter how many assignments or personal projects I take on, there always seems to be a ghost in the machine somewhere. Now let me just state, these are just glitches and usually solved on the spot. Really maddening though, but with a little forethought, we can address those. And that's what we're going to try and do now. Light is the bread and butter of photographers, and without it, we'd be out of business. But controlling that light can be a problem. So we're going to look at a few things we can do to make those pictures better. Now light can be dying light or too much light. There's different ways of confronting that light in order to produce good images. Now camera shake is a problem when you've got a slow shutter speed and you need to stabilize your camera. It's a very common problem. Easy way, use a tripod and a cable release so your hands aren't touching the camera at all. Now with light, when you've got too much light, you might want to bring that down a little bit, and that's when we use these neutral density filters. That helps us adjust our aperture to a point where how we want to create that picture. Next up, the unwanted silhouette. Now, how many times have you taken a photograph with a great background, really nicely lit, only to have your subject lost in a black shroud? Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to answer that question by using a bit of fill-in flash. Now, fill-in flash, I like to liken it to like filling up a hole with dirt. We're shoveling light onto our subject to try and even out the light in the background with your subject in the foreground. Now, landscapes and cityscapes are among the most popular subjects for people to shoot. But how many times have you gotten home and looked at your images, either as prints or in the computer, and found your horizons really wonky, way off? Now, it's easily fixed. Now, even in the computer, you can fix it quite simply. However, the downside to that is you might lose file size. Now, another way to do it is to be very careful when you're shooting through the camera and making sure your sides are pretty even. Now, most cameras today, in the menu, you can also bring up a grid pattern that will allow you to keep things nice and flat. One element of pictures I think people are really disappointed with is when they get home and look at their images and their subject looks really small in the frame. They get this great background, but their subject, whatever it is, family members or friends, look tiny. It's like squishing their head. Now, it's a really easy thing to mitigate. Either bring your subject closer to you or you get closer to the subject. As famous photographer Robert Capa once said, if your pictures aren't good enough, you're not close enough. Then the last subject is probably the most difficult to overcome, and that's you. Now, one of the most asked questions I get when I'm out working from other photographers, especially amateur photographers, is how do I get those natural looking pictures of people without them looking really, really stilted? Well, the short answer is it's difficult. Don't use a long lens, take the photograph and run. That's not what you want. You want nice, natural, relaxed photographs. And the only way to do this is to make that short connection with your subject. So get rid of the long lens, use a shorter lens, get in and talk to people. After all, what's the fun in taking a picture and just running? Get out there and enjoy the experience. So these are just a few problems that photographers face on a day-to-day basis, easily overcome with a little forethought. So thanks for watching. I'm Doug McKinlay for Adorama TV. Don't forget you can subscribe to Adorama TV for more great videos and tell us what you think. You can like, comment, or share this video. And please stop by the Adorama Learning Center for more great tips and tricks.